Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Colton Steiner, and this is Sean Atkins, and this is the Grinding Gears Podcast. How are you doing this week, buddy?
Doing really, really well. Ready to get back into it. The Browns won and lost. And
Yep.
Ohio State did well, but yeah, you know what? I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty hectic week in the sports world the last couple weeks. I mean, starting off with the Pittsburgh game for the Browns last week, where everyone expected the Steelers to come in, and Heinz Field, they've had such a historic winning streak against Cleveland there. So coming in, you expect the Steelers to do the same thing they've done all year. But you know what? The Browns of the Browns is a new term, new phrase that means something different now. So. They came in, whooped Pittsburgh's butt, and then, came in, won their first playoff game since 1994, and then, unfortunately got beat by the Chiefs this past weekend. But hey, it was a hard game, and that was honestly the closest playoff game this weekend. I mean, you look at all the games, and the fact of the matter, the Browns were a 6 seed, and they were playing a 1 seed, and the fact that it was that close is something to be proud of.
Yeah, that is crazy. We racked up 17 points against that. Like, that is kudos to them. You know, after the game, I read on everybody's like Twitter, you guys, you know, the Browns suck. The Browns got absolutely kablammered. I'm like, no, they didn't. No, I'm like, it was a close game. They were literally a touchdown away from winning. So you know what? Eat it.
Like, the funny thing is, everyone was saying, oh, they're like, Chase Claypool, I'm going to use him as an example, said they're going to get clapped by the Chiefs next week, so it doesn't matter. But on that comment, the Browns didn't get clapped. I mean, sure, the Chiefs were without Patrick Mahomes, and that is a big reason why the Browns were able to keep it close. But they did get screwed out of a touchdown early on because of a missed helmet-to-helmet penalty that was not called. Fumbled into the end zone. Yeah, went out of bounds, which is a touchback, and the ball goes to the defense, which honestly is the worst rule in football. And I know it's been a rule for a while, but the biggest problem that we have in the NFL is like all these rule changes every year. But this call, I think everyone agrees it's pointless. Why should the defense get the benefit when they didn't even recover the football?
Yeah, exactly. It's not fair. Definitely not fair. Mm-hmm. Like, can we take a second and like talk about how that whole that whole penalty was missed? The ref literally was right in front of it. Like, how do you miss that? I mean,
I think it's a hard the goal line referee, he's watching the fumble. Like, he's kind of blocked off from the hit, and when he's reaching across, he's watching to see where that football is. So if he reaches over the goal line, it's a touchdown. But if he's short, like he was, and it rolls into the end zone, he's got to be able to call that a touchback and watch who recovers it. So I can understand
hear the helmet-to-helmet clack.
You would
like,
think,
come on now,
but. I mean,
come on, son. You know, the NFL, come on, sons, every week.
Yeah. After the fact, obviously, it's like, man, they should have called that. But that does bring up a very good point that this stuff like this, like helmet-to-helmet hits, should be reviewable. And that, like, in college, they have that option. And unlike college, NFL doesn't have that opportunity. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the offseason, because I know there's a lot of talk about that touchback rule, fumbling into the end zone, might go out, along with bringing the reviewable helmet-to-helmet hits. Because the ironic part, that helmet-to-helmet hit was missed in the Browns-Chiefs game, but in the Tampa Bay-New Orleans game, they called that, I think, like 3 times. So I think that's it. Maybe they learned from the other team's mistake. You know what? We're going to watch those and then call 3 of them in that game. But you know what? I think the Browns got them out of their system early on. And I said this in my live stream. They ran the ball 6 times in the first half. Yeah. You're already setting yourself up for failure in that game.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, Nick Chubb finishes the game with 13 carries. I believe Kareem Hunt finished with 5 or 6 in the game. Kareem Hunt didn't have a single carry at halftime. And I was livid about that. Kareem Hunt, who had a 2 touchdown game against the Steelers in the game prior, didn't get a single touch until the second half. And that was the biggest fault I saw from Kevin Stefanski, and the biggest fault I saw from this team was its play call. And it's the thing that grinds my gears the most is when the Browns would get in this, unfortunately not that the season's over, it happened numerous times this season where they get in this mentality of having to throw the ball numerous times in a row, and that's what happens. What happened when they came out in the second half, they threw it 2 straight times, and then on the third pass was an interception. And when you throw that many times, the defense is going to sit back and be ready for that. And that's how interceptions get thrown, and that's how you are able to let offenses get easy points. Unfortunately, that interception didn't turn into anything, and the Browns pretty much ended up getting the ball a minute later, and it didn't cost them anything. So that interception didn't cost them all, but you can't change your system up in one game. So that's the biggest thing. Like, everyone will complain about that fumble, and it was a big play. I'm not saying it wasn't. It definitely would have cost the Browns a chance, but the fact of the matter is they got away from the run game, and I saw numerous people saying that. And going forward, I would love to see them next year turn into a run-dominant team with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, because they're going to have a lot of people to re-sign looking into the future, with Baker Mayfield getting a contract extension, Rashard Higgins, obviously, and numerous other players. So, but it's time to rebuild that secondary. It's time to rebuild. So,
yeah. You know what? I'm happy. I'm happy to see them do well this season. And here's to hope. Here's hoping to 2021. Yeah. I gotta get my years in straight.
I'm right there with you.
Right there. I was like, what in the world? Oh, here's the hope in 2021 is a lot better. So
yeah, no joke.
I mean, I read one of your tweets. I think it was your tweets. You said Super Bowl bound. I would definitely agree with that.
Like, it's kind of like it wasn't a quote unquote meme, but it was a saying that Browns say, you know what? We can always go to the Super Bowl next year. Legitimately, the Browns have a shot to go to the Super Bowl.
They do. They have the talent is there.
The talent is there. Offense is there. It's just the defense, and we saw that. That was one of the biggest keys to the Browns' losses this past weekend was their inability to stop the pass. And I mean, it's been a problem this all season. Everybody knows it. Finally, it took the national media like 10 weeks to recognize it, but by the time I was saying it every week because they were ragging on Baker Mayfield, even though he was putting up decent numbers. But it's the defense, and if the Browns are able to at least get pretty much a tad above average defense, I would say they're easily one of the toughest teams to beat in the NFL. And we saw that what can't happen against the Steelers. I mean, they got 4 turnovers in the first half, and they put up 28 points, and which is like the most in what was that? Tied the most, or it was the most? I think
it was tied the most in the first quarter. I'm not sure if it was the first half. I think it was the first quarter.
Yeah, it was one of those like most points in a half, I think, since 1950 something, and the most tied for most points in a quarter. But anywho, it was a great game to watch, that Pittsburgh game. I highly recommend you guys go look up the highlights for that. It's all fall, man.
It is great.
Even though the following day was the national championship for college, and we had Ohio State playing Alabama, I was like riding high already from that win, but the week before, Ohio State beat Clemson. They pretty much steamrolled Clemson, so I was high on that. Yeah. So I was like, if we get beat by Alabama, I'm not going to get too upset. I mean, I'm riding on cloud 9. Sure, I'm going to be disappointed, but I'm too happy right now I'm on cloud 9. I'm too high to be pulled down.
Yeah.
But looking at the playoffs, though, I do have a couple questions. Who do you think it will be? Will it be who's going to win in the Bills versus Chiefs game, and who's going to win in the Green Bay versus Tampa Bay, the Battle of the Bays?
Well, do you want to hear the reality, or do you want to hear what I hope? I'm hoping for a Bills versus Green Bay. I'd love that. Mm-hmm. But reality, probably Green Bay versus the Chiefs, right?
Mm-hmm. And I would go with your wish. I think that's very doable. I mean, the Bills they've kind of hit a really good stride this second half of the season.
Oh,
and
definitely. Yeah.
after they beat the Steelers and they kept on kind of riding off that win. And
Josh
they're
Allen's a monster.
Josh Allen is so good. And I'm shocked at how good he was or is, because I never expected this out of college.
You know,
when I watched him.
It's crazy. I was researching him the other day. Do you know what year he was born?
Let me see. He's 24.
Don't look it up.
24,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, 1996. What the heck? 1990. That's how old I am, and he's already out there throwing zingers, making millions. Like, look at that.
Well,
it's just weird to see that at my age.
What blows my mind, Patrick Mahomes, he's 25. Like,
Oh dear. Jeez.
yeah, he's 25. Baker Mayfield's 25. Lamar Jackson, I think, is 24.
Baker's 25.
Yeah.
I
He's
thought
25.
he was almost 30.
No, no, he's
Jeez. Where have I been?
He's got about 10 to 15 more. He's not a mobile quarterback, so he's got some time. I mean, you see, and I always say this, I'm not trying to discredit Lamar Jackson. I'm not. He's a phenomenal player, but he's got to learn to throw the ball more. You can't run as much as him and expect to have a long career.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's dangerous.
He's going to
That's very
get one
dangerous.
hit, and he got a concussion in this last game, and he wasn't even running. Like,
Yeah.
he's going to get one hit. One hit is all it takes to ruin a career. I mean, you look at numerous running backs in the NFL. I mean, Adrian Peterson, after he had numerous ACL injuries and he had one great year, he had a couple great years, but he wasn't the same player that he was after his injuries. I mean, and I say running back because he runs the ball a lot more, and he can pass the ball, but we saw this against the Bills. I mean, he can't rely on the pass when it is needed. I mean, against the Browns, it was needed because anybody can pass against the Browns, but I mean, in the long run, I don't think it's going to be a good thing for him if he wants to have a long career. But in my opinion, AFC, I think the Bills have a very good chance to win. It all depends on if Patrick Mahomes can play. I mean, right now, he's in the concussion protocol. If he's playing, and I most likely think he will be able to play, I think he'll be good. But I don't know. I would very much like the Bills to win. I mean, Bills fans and Browns fans, we are very close fandoms who love our teams. They went to how many? I believe it was 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s. Lost all of them, and
Oh, man.
I think I don't know extensive history on the Bills, but I'm pretty sure they were lost by like field goals in one or something. Because I remember kicker had some sort of problem with that. But
They pulled a Cody Parkey.
Yep, pulled a Cody Parkey. But honestly, speaking of Cody Parkey, I was incredibly impressed with how he performed this season. Sure, he missed a couple. Like, he missed an extra point a couple times and a couple key field goals, but for the most part,
he was, out of it.
He was very reliable, and he had a better field goal / kicking game than the Kansas City kicker did on his own turf. So but
yikes!
I'm really excited for this Green Bay Tampa Bay game because Green Bay got Aaron Rodgers going against Tom Brady. I mean, that's what that's a Super Bowl matchup we've wanted, and I don't believe we never gotten that. So
I don't think so.
Now that we got it in an NFC Championship, that's going to be fun. And I really think Green Bay can pull it out. But Tampa Bay's defense blew them out. I believe it was like in week 5 or something. It was early on in the season. It was like they blew them out by like 20, I think. But Green Bay's been riding a really good stride lately. So. Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, those two can light it up on anybody. So I'm excited. I think my final prediction, I think the Bills will play Green Bay because I think Tampa Bay, I think Green Bay is just too much for Tampa Bay to handle. But
yeah, I agree. With that.
So let's move on to the worst time to build a computer. Let me tell you, it is the worst time. You start this off because you know more about it than I do.
Okay, so I'll just read a little bit off this Tom's Hardware article that I found. It looks like the tariffs that our current president put in place, the tariff exemptions, it expired, and it's set to increase the prices of GPUs, and not only GPUs, but also, let's see here. Where did that go? Power supplies, SSDs, motherboards, cases, and more. And I guess power supply is over 500 watts is what I heard on a video from, I think it was Linus Tech Tips as well. So they'll be going up like about 7.5 to 25% more. Is that what it says? Yeah.
Jeez.
So that's just crazy. So like my graphics card, I got the EVGA 3060 Ti XC. I bought it for $409, and if you go on EVGA's website now, it's $459.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane.
The EVGA 3080, I don't remember, like the for the Win 3 or whatever version.
Mm-hmm.
It went from 710, I think, to 849 or something like that. Something ridiculous. It's insane.
That is insane. What percent? Is like 15 or 20% higher?
I don't even know.
I
don't. Yeah.
I mean, the crazy thing is graphics cards are already impossible to get. So
Yeah.
the fact that they're going up in price isn't going to
Isn't
help
going to
at
help.
all.
And not only that, but the scalpers. I mean, you take that price and double it.
Oh my gosh.
So you're already playing that, and
Imagine-
it makes me crazy. It drives me crazy that people actually buy scalper cards.
Mhm.
I don't understand. I see it all the time. I'm like, really, guys? Come on.
I really wanted this card. Well, you just could wait a little bit. Eventually,
you just blew
it'll
3
be,
months rent on an electronic that's worth $600.
and that'll die out in what, 10 years?
Less than that. Yeah,
Less than
5
that.
years. Yeah,
5
max.
years. But it's insane at how much this crap is costing. And I mean, if you think about it from a scalper's perspective, if you were able to get one of those cards earlier on and get it for like the original price of what it was, imagine how much you could like triple your profit.
Yeah.
Because, oh my
Depending on
gosh.
what card you had. Yeah, it'd be
man.
pretty crazy.
What was it? The 3080 you said went up 20%?
Yeah, something like that. It was crazy.
I mean,
power supplies, motherboards, the whole 9 yards, everything goes up. And I just seen SSDs in here, and I didn't know that before actually reading. So actually, I'm kind of pretty ticked off because I need an SSD for my computer.
Yeah. See, I'm at the point where I almost need to build a new computer, and this is why we wanted to bring it up, because I'm in the process of trying to build a computer. Like for me, unfortunately, I don't have the budget to do it right now. But I mean, it sucks because I can't get any parts because everything is skyrocketing in price, and everything is out of stock right now because everyone is trying to get it before it gets out of stock. I mean, it's just. It's so aggravating. But
yeah, it kind of sucks because like I want another M.2 SSD because I want to replace one of the spinnies that I have, you know, with a regular SSD for Flight Simulator.
Yeah,
I'm excited about that, but like they're out of stock and they're jacked up in price, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Come on.
It's so, oh man, because we built a computer for like we built a computer for myself a couple years ago, which is a computer I'm using now to stream, game, and all that at it, stuff like that. But when I built it, I believe the total cost of it was around $730. I think that was the final price. I looked at what it cost to build that computer now with the prices. It is like almost $900.
Jeez.
Like, that is insane. And I don't even have, that's like budget stuff. Like I had a certain amount of money set to pay for this computer. And when I built it, it was like, okay, I got this for a good deal. At the time, I didn't think I was streaming. And I was like, a couple years later, I'm like, I need to build a new computer because mine's really starting to die down.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, well, I'm in a crappy situation.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Oh yeah.
It kind of sucks, but like, I think what was my computer when I think I paid out the door totals like $1,349. Now it's worth over $2,000. Who would have thought?
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, who would have thought that building a computer and having an electronic would actually appreciate in value? And it's
as it gets older.
Who needs investments? Just buy a computer.
Just buy a computer. And what blows my mind is the price of old graphics cards. Like a 2080 Super is still the same price that it was when it first released. And honestly, is more expensive now.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can't even get it. It's out of stock.
Yeah. And it blows my mind like that the price is it remain that high. Like I don't know the whole method on why it's high. There might be a reason that we don't know about, but like the 3060 Ti is like blows this 2080 Super out of the water, and it's literally half the price.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens when the 3060 becomes available. It's coming available at the end of February, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And and with all the things that it's going to be like what, 349?
329, I believe.
329. Because
yeah,
I'm going to.
It was 329.
I'm going to try and get it, even though I won't even work for my computer that I have right now unless I get a new power supply. But if I do get a new power supply before everything gets out of stock and everything jacks up in price, which I need to do soon, then I'll be able to play it. But until I get that power supply, I can't do anything with a new graphics card. But this is where you have to get it ahead of time. And if I'm somehow, by the miracle of God, am able to get a 3060 for that price, I'm going to be extremely happy. It may sit in my room for a while, but hey.
Yeah, I would definitely, if you could get a 3060 or 3060 Ti, whichever comes first at cost, I would jump on it. I would jump on it.
And it's one of those things where you talk to people who don't know much about like gaming computers and stuff like that. They're like, "Oh, everything will go down eventually." That's what we've been saying since March of last year. So we're like, "Oh, everything will go down. Graphics card will become available." When did the 3070 and 3080 and 3090 come out last year?
September. I believe September. Yeah.
September. And people still can't get it.
Yeah. Like I've been in a queue for EVGA since September. Well, let me look here. Let's see. 9/22. I've been in a queue to get the 3080, even though I don't want it anymore, since 9/22 at 1:19 p.m. And I still can't even get it. That's nuts.
That's nuts.
That is crazy.
Go to the only place I think you can even get a GPU is from Micro Center.
Yep, that's what I did.
Yep,
that's how I got mine. The trick is go on an off day and like during a weekday or something, and then arrive at the store an hour early and wait in line and pray that there's enough stock for you.
Yeah.
So you can get your card, because if not, that sucks, because I've been there a couple times where I went up and I go back empty-handed, but it's just nature of the beast.
Yep. Yeah. So. You lucky dog too. You told me you got the last one when it was in stock.
Yeah. I was getting a little bit anxious and kind of mad. I was like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Am I gonna get shafted here again?"
I would have sucked so hard.
Yeah, I would have. I would have been pretty hot, but I mean, that's what happens. I mean, I'm not going to throw a fit and start yelling at the not the coworkers,
the workers. Dude, we're just trying to sell these things.
That's an interesting discussion too. That's what kind of grinds my gears. Is like a lot of these people on the that are not even that are on the receiving end of purchasing these cards. They're not even they're getting belittled and slammed and treated like crap. Like I'm like, come on, guys, get a life. Like, was I mad that that the graphics card weren't in stock? Yeah,
it's not their fault.
But it's not their fault. Like, literally, they just provide the stuff.
They're just trying to get them out the door. I mean, it is what it is. But it's.
I know there's death threats going around too. I'm like, are you kidding? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, come on.
If you're going to be mad at someone, like, obviously never say death threats to anyone. You do that, you lose my respect, every little bit of it I have for you. But like, if you're going to be mad at someone, be mad at, one, scalpers, two, be mad at the companies that aren't making enough of these don't get these things out properly. And I mean, you look at iPhones that get out every year. I mean, they are able, with a great product every year. I mean, it's getting better and better. They're able to give the consumers these things and not have any problems. But when graphics cards become available, it's an absolute nightmare to get anything. So it's interesting to talk about like these graphics cards, because everyone's buying certain ones. But the question I want to ask you, is it even worth getting a flagship GPU card?
I don't think so. In my opinion, I don't think so, because If you really look at all the 60 series cards, you know, I'm not even, did they have a 960? I don't know. But the 1060, 2060, and now the 3060. I mean, if you look at that, they're just the flagship card of last generation.
Mm-hmm.
So
for
like,
a much better price.
Yeah, for a much better price. And I'm like, and you know, just like this 3060, you know, 1440p is the standard right now, and the 3060 Ti can literally run 1440p at 100 plus frames per second in most games. And like, why? I don't know. You know, if you have the money, fine. You know, that's fine. That's congratulations, kudos to you for getting the flagship card. You know, that's awesome. But like, I don't know. From a value proposition, I don't think it's ever worth. And I'm not dogging the people who have the flagship card. You know, great. Like I said, good for you. But like, I just don't think it's ever worth getting the flagship card every year, or not every year, every generation that comes out.
And I would agree. I mean, I'm the guy that I try and budget everything so I get things for a good deal. And me personally, I game in 1080p. I don't need the 1440. I don't have a 1440p monitor. I'm not really here to make it look great. I'm just here for the enjoyment of the game and enjoy the experience. Sure, I want my game to look great. But I've been in the position where I've gotten 10 FPS, and I've been in the position of getting 60 FPS, and trust me, 60, if I can get 60 FPS, get smooth stuff, and it looks good, that's fine with me. So I'm good with getting the 3060. Before everything went up, it was $399 when it released, the 3060 Ti. Yeah. And that was the one I wanted to get because I don't need the 3070. I don't need the 3080. Yeah. I sure as heck don't need the 3090.
Oh, come on now.
Well, how much? Speaking of, how much do you think that? How much is that? Is that like?
I seen one at Micro Center. It's an MSI Gaming X Trio 3090 for $2,029 yesterday.
Dude, that's the price of an entire computer.
And they sell. Oh, you know, that's the thing. It's like, I don't understand. Like I just don't understand how they fly off the shelves like that.
It really blows my mind.
Like, it just blows my mind how that happens.
And the thing is, like, if I could get a graphics card right now, I would look at getting the 3060, but if I wanted to look at the previous generation, I look at like the 2070 maybe, because that's more affordable, and isn't that similar to what the 3060 is?
Which one is it? Which one?
2070 or the 2080? I forget which one is the similar one.
The 2070 Super is comparable to the 3060, and the 3060 Ti is better than the 2080 Super. Yeah,
and I still laugh when I look up at the 3080 Super, not 30, the 2080, and look at the price of that. Yeah. Like, why does I don't know why that doesn't go down at all. Like, I think that would be
they don't make them anymore, I guess, and it's just
they should start making them, because that would help out a lot of their problems right now. I mean, you look at the inventory of any GPU, and it is just none, But I'm intrigued to see what happens as this year progresses, to see if graphics cards become available, and if more computer parts will go up in price, like motherboards and stuff, and CPUs maybe, and SSDs cards and RAM and stuff like that. But I'm intrigued. I've been watching a lot of prices, and fortunately my stuff that I want, I'm not going to say it because I don't know it off the top of my head. Yeah, speaking of, I don't even know what I want off the top of my head. Which ones I want. So this is my knowledge of building a computer. I'm as basic as you can get, but it's definitely before I built my computer, I knew nothing about building a computer. Absolutely nothing. And I gained a lot of experience in the last 2 years, and I'm still have a lot to learn. So it's a fun topic to talk about, and I encourage everyone to build a computer.
Even if you're not game or anything.
Yeah, we're not trying to discourage people from building a computer by any means. I mean, it's a great thing to do. It's a lot more affordable than buying a computer from a store. You're going to be paying twice as much, buying it from someone, buying it from a store than what you are if you're going to build it. And it is.
Well, it depends. Not anymore. The pre-builds are a little, I don't know. Pre-builds have came down in price and their value's pretty much up there now.
Really?
Typically, there's not very much, a little bit of earthquake there. There's not much of a margin like there used to be. I mean, in the past, you got the pre-builts were always like, the laughing stock, like, haha. But nowadays, it's pretty enticing. I don't know if you watch the LTT Secret Shopper series, and you should go check that Linus Tech Tips on YouTube.
Yeah.
You should go check out the Secret Shopper series and really see how far you can get with a pre-built. Some manufacturers are kind of a joke, but some of them offer a pretty good bargain for the price.
Definitely is interesting to see. I mean, back when I know when I was in college, I would say my sophomore year, I know a lot of people that I knew built their computers because at that time it would be, like you said, laughable to buy a pre-built computer compared to building a computer. And you built your computer at that time because it honestly made the more logical sense. But like I said, we encourage you to go learn. There's a lot of YouTube videos on how to build a computer. I mean, there are great things to, even if you know how to build a computer, they're great to go back and look at and see how you can make your build even better. So,
yeah, and if you're worried about screwing something up, you really can't, like with those. I mean, well, you can, but like you just follow the videos. It's like putting together a puzzle. I know a lot of people like putting together puzzles, and that's exactly what a computer is. You just solve the puzzle. It's not as hard as people make it think to be. And I've seen a lot of people, you come over to your house, oh, you built a computer. It's not that hard. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, just a lot. I mean, YouTube is a great thing. I remember when when I was having my trouble with my RAM, and the problem was the XMP profile we didn't load it properly. And whenever I would just do something 10 minutes on my computer, 10 minutes later, I would get the BSOD, the blue screen of death. And when we finally found a YouTube video from Linus Tech Tips of him doing that, and we never actually figured it out. So it's like, Sean here is great at building computers, but it never crossed our minds to load in the XMP profile.
Yeah. I don't know why that slipped by me. I was like, dang it.
And honestly, I'm partially blamed because I said, "Oh, I thought we did that." I mean, like we both kind of were at fault there. But you know what? We found a YouTube video, we learned something, and we took that to heart, and we took that to learn forward on what not to do and what to do in the future. So. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys for watching on YouTube and on Twitch. And if you want to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast, go ahead and subscribe to those platforms. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of the Grinding Gears Podcast. My name is Colton Steiner.
And I am Sean Atkins.
Oh yeah. And thank you for listening to the Grinding Gears Podcast, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Bye!